Okay, so just picture it for a second. This massive global engine of trade. I mean, everything from, I don't know, your morning coffee to the parts in the device you're listening on, it's all moving across oceans, right?
Absolutely. The maritime industry is, well, it's the backbone, no question.
But underneath all that activity, there's this huge constant effort to keep things safe, keep things compliant. It often goes unseen.
A critical effort.
So the big question we're diving into today, why? Why, after all this time, all these rules, new tech, why do some of these basic safety and environmental problems still keep popping up at sea?
And what can the latest numbers actually teach us about fixing them? That's the key.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into global maritime safety, looking specifically through the lens of the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, AMSA, their 2024 inspection data.
Right, and Australia is a really good place to look for this. Huge coastline, massive reliance on shipping. They're kind of a bellwether. Their data gives us a sense of global standards.
So our mission here is to pull out the key trends, figure out what challenges just won't go away, and see where the industry really needs to step up. And we'll even get into some specifics about highly specialized ships like LNG carriers.
And it's all based on AMSA's official 2024 Maritime Safety Report, plus a focused look they did on LNG vessel checks. So solid data.
Yeah, thousands of inspections. It's a pretty robust snapshot of what's happening out there, which is valuable for you listening, no matter where you are.
Definitely. Because when we talk about AMSA, it's not just, search and rescue, though that's vital. They're doing these crucial inspections. Port State Control PSC, that's for foreign ships visiting Australia.
Yeah.
Flag State Control FSC for Aussie ships.
Yeah.
And then domestic commercial vessels, DCVs, for their local boats.
So they cover a lot of ground.
They really do. And in 2024, look at the numbers. 2,264 PSC inspections on foreign ships alone.
Wow.
Plus 69 FSC checks and 2,275 on domestic vessels. That volume gives us real insight.
Okay, so let's get to the core of it. The 2024 report. It paints a bit of a mixed picture, doesn't it?
It does. On the one hand, the PSC detention rate, that's ships being stopped for serious issues, it actually went down slightly to 5.9%.
Which sounds like good news, right? Fewer ships detained.
You'd think so. But, and this is the crucial part, the average number of problems, deficiencies, found on each ship they inspected, that stayed high. Stubbornly high, actually, at 2.63.
Huh. So fewer ships stopped, but the ones inspected still have, on average, almost 3 things wrong with them. What does that tell us?
Well, it suggests a couple of things. It probably means AMSA has gotten better at targeting the high-risk ships. Their risk-based approach is working to find the really non-compliant ones.
Okay, so they're efficient at finding the worst offenders.
Exactly. But the fact that the average deficiency rate isn't dropping, that suggests the underlying issues across the fleet aren't really going away.
Right. We're finding the problems more effectively, but the number of problems overall might not be shrinking. The root causes are still there.
Precisely. It's like we're better doctors at diagnosing the illness, but the disease is still prevalent in the population.
Okay, so let's drill down then. What were those root causes? What were the main reasons ships were getting detained in Australia last year?
The big one, and this isn't entirely new, but it's still significant, is issues related to the International Safety Management Code, the ISM code.
Ah, the ISM code. That's fundamental stuff, right? About how the company manages safety on board.
Exactly. It's about the whole system procedures, training, oversight. And ISM failures accounted for almost 28%, 27.57% to be precise, of all the reasons ships were detained.
Nearly a third. That points to something systemic, doesn't it? More than just a broken piece of equipment.
It really does. It suggests problems with how safety management is actually implemented day to day, not just written down in a manual. It's about the safety culture, fundamentally.
Okay. And what about the environment? Anything worrying on the pollution front?
Yes, actually. Quite worrying. Detainable deficiencies under Markle Annex, that's the main regulation for preventing oil pollution, nearly doubled.
Doubled? Wow.
Yeah, it jumped from 4.9% of detainable issues in 2023 to 8.11% in 2024. That's a significant jump. It signals a real need to refocus on preventing oil spills and pollution.
Definitely concerning for marine ecosystems. Now, did the report show any patterns in which types of ships were having the most problems?
Yes, absolutely. Very clear patterns emerged, which is useful for, targeting resources.
Right.
So bulk carriers, think coal, iron ore. They were inspected the most, just by volume. over 1,200 inspections.
Makes sense. Lots of bulk trade with Australia.
But they weren't the worst performers in terms of detention rate. That dubious honor went to tugboats.
Tugboats, really?
Yep, a 16.7% detention rate for tugs, followed by offshore service vessels, the ones supporting oil rigs and wind farms at 12.5%, and then general cargo ships at 8.3%.
Interesting. So it's not necessarily the biggest ships, but these specific categories that are showing higher risk.
Exactly. It really underlines why a nuanced, risk-based approach is needed. You can't just inspect everything equally. You focus where the data shows the problems are concentrated.
Okay, so lots of challenges there. But surely there is some good news in the report. Any bright spots or surprising improvements?
Oh, definitely. It wasn't all doom and gloom. One really positive standout was livestock carriers.
Ah, the ships carrying sheep and cattle. They've had issues in the past, haven't they?
They have. But in 2024, 0 detentions. None. That's a massive turnaround and shows that focused effort can really make a difference.
That is impressive. Any other examples?
Yeah, the report also specifically called out 13 high-performing operators. These are companies whose ships were inspected multiple times but had 0 detentions and really low deficiency rates.
So proving it can be done.
Exactly. It proves operational excellence is achievable. They gave examples like Maritime, Maritime Inc., 15 inspections, deficiency rate under 1, and Livestock Express BV, 19 inspections, again, rate under 1. These guys are setting the standard.
That's a great point, showing what good looks like. Okay, so we have this general picture. How does it all apply when we talk about ships carrying really hazardous stuff like liquefied natural gas, LNG carriers? That must be a whole different ballgame.
Oh, it absolutely is. The stakes are incredibly high with LNG. Inspections on these vessels are critical because of the inherent risks.
Can you just remind us what makes LNG so challenging?
Sure. So LNG is mostly methane, but it's cooled down to minus 162 degrees Celsius. That's incredibly cold.
Minus 162.
Wow. Yeah. So you've got severe cryogenic burn risks. It's also highly flammable, obviously, but only within a specific range in air, about 5 to 15%. Below that, not enough fuel. Above that, not enough oxygen.
Right.
And it can cause asphyxiation because it displaces oxygen. Handling it safely requires really specialized ship design, those big spherical tanks you sometimes see, or complex membrane tanks, special materials like Invar steel that don't get brittle at low temperatures, sophisticated systems to manage the gas that boils off, usually double hulls too. It's complex engineering.
So given all that complexity, where do inspectors typically find the weak spots on these LNG carriers? What are the common deficiencies?
They tend to fall into a few key areas, and often they have direct safety implications.
Okay.
First is documentation. Things like expired certificates. The specific one for gas carriers is the IGC code certificate or the ship's overall safety management certificate.
Yeah.
Even simple things like messy oil record books or garbage logs can be flagged.
Right. The paperwork has to be perfect.
It really does. Second, safety and emergency systems. This is critical. Think emergency shutdown valves not working, gas detectors malfunctioning or not calibrated, firefighting gear not maintained, or even just drills and training for emergencies not being up to scratch.
That sounds like a major risk area.
It is. Then there's the cargo handling systems themselves. Problems with the tanks like damaged insulation causing cold spots or leaks in valves, issues with the pumps, or the remote control systems used for loading and unloading.
So the core equipment for the cargo itself.
Yep. Fourth is the basic structural and mechanical condition of the ship. Excessive rust, damage to the hull, problems with the engine or steering gear. These apply to all ships, but the consequences could be worse on an LNG carrier.
Sure.
And finally, and this links back to the ISM issues we discussed earlier, crew competence and how well the safety management system, SMS, is actually followed. Do the crew have the right specialized gas certifications? Are they actually following the written procedures, or is the SMS just paper on a shelf?
That last one sounds crucial, the gap between the rules and reality.
It's often where things fall down.
So if inspectors are finding these kinds of issues on LNG carriers, what are the potential knock-on effects? What's the bigger picture risk here?
Well, these aren't just minor technical faults, right? They expose potentially systemic weaknesses. A single problem, like a faulty gas detector combined with maybe poorly trained crew, that could turn a small leak into a catastrophic fire or explosion. The potential consequences are just enormous.
Environmentally.
Right. An uncontrolled LNG release, even without ignition, causes extreme cold thermal shock, which can harm marine life. And if they're not following Marpol, you could have issues like invasive species being transported in untreated ballast water.
Okay.
And, these findings don't just stay with AMSA, they feed back into the system. They inform the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, about where regulations might need updating. They put pressure on flag states, the countries where ships are registered, to improve their oversight. It drives improvement globally.
So it's a feedback loop, really. The inspections highlight problems that can then lead to better rules and practices worldwide.
Ideally, yes. That's how the system is supposed to work.
Okay, so this deep dive has really laid out the challenges, both general and specific, like with LNG. Let's talk about moving forward. What are the practical actions? What should ship operators, the companies running these vessels, be doing right now based on this data?
The message for operators and managers is pretty clear from this report. They need to be proactive, not reactive.
Okay, proactive how?
It means seriously investing in proper planned maintenance, getting away from just fixing things when they break.
Yeah, preventative maintenance.
Exactly. It also means making sure their safety management systems are living documents. They need to be used, reviewed, updated, not just paperwork to satisfy an auditor. And consistent, targeted crew training is vital.
Especially in those problem areas.
Absolutely. Pollution prevention, emergency response using realistic drills. And for complex ships like LNG carriers, simulator training can be incredibly valuable to practice handling emergencies safely.
Makes sense. And what about the regulators themselves, like AMSA? How can they use this data even more effectively?
Well, they can definitely use it to sharpen their targeting. The data clearly shows high-risk vessel types, those tugs, the offshore vessels, and high-risk deficiency areas, like the ISM code and MARPOL Annex 1.
To focus resources there?
Precisely. Focus inspections where they're most likely to find problems. And specifically for LNG, it means ensuring their inspectors have deep, specialized knowledge. They need to understand cryogenics, the IGC code inside out, how those complex cargo systems work. It requires ongoing investment in training their people, too.
That's a fair point. It requires expertise on both sides.
It does, and this really raises the bigger question. How do you foster a genuinely strong safety culture across the whole industry?
How so?
Well, a shipping company's safety record. That's increasingly becoming a competitive factor. If you consistently run safe, compliant ships, you're going to be a preferred partner for cargo owners, for charterers.
So safety becomes good business.
Exactly. Demonstrating that commitment, backed by data like low detention rates, low deficiencies, it turns compliance from just a cost into potentially a business advantage. Excellence, not just minimums.
I like that, shifting the perspective. It highlights that feedback loop. Again, data shaping policy, policy pushing practice, and better practice meaning safer seas. So wrapping up our deep dive here, we set out to pull key insights from AMSA's 2024 data. And the picture is, well, it's nuanced, isn't it?
It really is. You see signs of progress that slightly lower the tension rate, but you also see these stubborn, persistent challenges, especially with basic safety management, maintenance, and that worrying slip in environmental compliance on the oil pollution side.
So not a crisis, perhaps, but definitely a warning against complacency.
I think that's exactly right. It demands renewed focus.
And the recommendations from the report seem pretty direct.
They are. The industry needs to speed up that shift from being reactive to proactive. Treat safety as absolutely core to the business. Invest properly in maintenance. Build a culture where safety is truly embedded, where every single crew member feels responsible and empowered.
And keep training those seafarers. They're the ones on the front line.
Absolutely. Continuous training is key. They are the ultimate guardians of safety at sea.
Yeah, it really hammers home that it's about more than just ticking boxes or meeting the bare minimum. It's aiming for genuine operational excellence, for safer oceans, a protected environment, and ships run to the highest possible standards. That benefits everyone.
Well said.
So, to leave our listeners with something to think about, as shipping gets even more complex, we're talking new ship designs, alternative fuels like ammonia or methanol coming online. What new skills, what kind of really adaptable training do you think the next generation of seafarers will absolutely need to navigate that future safely and sustainably?
That's a huge question. Adapting to new fuels, new digital systems, automation, it's going to require a constant evolution in training and skill sets. A real challenge, but a critical one.